This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from March 15th to March 17th of 2024. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, a channel favorite where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now, before I actually start this episode, I have two important updates. As you may know, the US Men's National Team plays this week in the CONCACAF Nations League semifinals against Jamaica, and if they win, they'll play Mexico or Panama in the final this Sunday. So update number one is actually a roster update, and that is that Josh Sargent and Luca De La Torre have been cut from the U.S. Men's National Team roster due to injury. They were replaced by Brendan Aaronson and Haji Wright. I am absolutely sad for Sargent and Luca, happy for Brendan and Haji, but I'm also happy that it seems like Greg Berhalter has finally moved on from his MLS lifers that he obsessed with last cycle. I mean, he could have replaced them with the MLS lifers that he loves so very much, and he did it once again. So props to Greg, because at least his roster selections ever since he came back, they've been good. Now, there's a quick update on Johnny. He picked up a knock for El Betis this weekend, and he is questionable, I guess, for the U.S. Men's National Team camp. He's going to be reevaluated Monday morning. So by the time you're watching this episode, you will already know if Johnny made it to Dallas or not. Fingers crossed. Hopefully he's fine. But I just got this update, so I'm kind of saying it on camera here on Sunday night. We'll know on Monday more details, but I think he should be fine. Update number two is in regards to probably the highest rated prospect in U.S. soccer right now, or in the U.S. Men's National Team pyramid, right? In the U14s or U17s or U20s, whatever you want to call it, U.S. Men's National Team youth system, and that is Caven Sullivan. The 14-year-old highly rated American prospect Caven Sullivan from the Philadelphia Union Academy will be joining Manchester City. When will he move? It's unclear because he's just 14. Maybe he will get some academy loans only get the actual move when he's 18. He does have a European passport, but due to Brexit, he might only be able to join Man City when he's 18, or at least their academy or U20s. He is highly rated. However, the kid is 14. Let's not overhype him. Let him develop and start looking into him more and more when he's playing for some teams' U20s or maybe for a senior team. You'll see a lot of people using a 14-year-old for clicks. Try to ignore them, let the kid develop, and root for the kid. That's all. And with that said, we're wishing Caven Sullivan the best of luck because he could be a generational talent. We're going to be following him when he gets a bit older. When he's around 16, maybe he'll be playing for some U20s, and then we'll get a better picture of like what level he actually is. But he looks very talented and very promising. With that said, sit back, relax, hit the like button, help us hit 1,000 likes in this video because it's US Men's National Team Camp Week, and we should all be excited, aren't you? All right, let's begin the episode. As always, we start with the top 5 leagues in Europe, the first one being the English Premier League, and why don't we start with the Americans that play for Nottingham Forest, and they are Gio Reyna and Matt Turner. On Saturday, Matt Turner and Gio Reyna both stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Nottingham Forest during their 1-1 draw with Luton Town, and I have absolutely nothing to say here. I expect this to be the rest of the season for Gio and Turner, unless Nottingham Forest has a few injuries. That's all. I got nothing else to comment on it. I'm not going to waste my time criticizing Gio Reyna's move anymore because it is a waste of time. Now, the next update is actually on 3 American players that play in the Premier League all at once. And that's because there were no games this weekend for Chris Richards, Austin Trusty, and Tyler Adams because of the FA Cup schedule. Not because their teams were in the FA Cup, they were all eliminated by now. It was because the opponents they were going to play in the Premier League had FA Cup matches this weekend. However, I do want to add that Tyler Adams did get minutes for Bournemouth during the midweek, and he looked fine. He looks healthy, probably not 90 minutes fit, but he can definitely give the US Men's National Team a good 20 to 30 minutes a game during the camp that's coming up right now for the Nations League semifinals and final. Next up, we have the Americans that play for Fulham, and they are Anthony Robinson and Tim Ream. And on Saturday, Robinson started and played the full 90 minutes for Fulham during their 3-0 win over Tottenham in the English Premier League. Tim Ream stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes. And let me talk about A-Rob because he had, once again, a fantastic performance. He was good defensively. He had a great assist off a cross, and he was taking on defenders. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is he was rock solid on defense and great going forward, along with the fact that he added an assist against a very tough opponent. A-Rob has been incredible this season, the Premier League, to say the least. Okay, now let's leave England and go to Italy to talk about the Americans that play in the Serie A. The first two being Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa from Milan. And on Sunday, Pulisic started and played 65 minutes for Milan during their 3-1 win over Verona in the Serie A. Yunus Musa was subbed in the 65th minute for Milan, and he essentially was sent in when Pulisic was subbed out. Yunus Musa did okay, as always, but let's talk about Pulisic, because Pulisic was fantastic once again. He's been having the best season of his career. He looked dangerous in multiple occasions. He hit the crossbar in the first half and scored for Milan in the second half in what was a tap-in off a rebound. But again, a goal is a goal. He was there to tap it in. So congratulations to Pulisic. And this was Christian Pulisic's 20th goal contribution of the season across all competitions. He might be able to hit 30 this season. There's still 9 Serie A matches left, plus whatever amount of Europa League matches that Milan has. It could be 2 more, it could be 4 more, it could be 6 more. So could he hit 30 goal contributions? Probably. I'm going to say Pulisic will probably end the season somewhere between 25 to 28 goal contributions, which is goal and assist, which is amazing. That's the best club season of his career. Of course, nothing that he achieves this season will be as big as winning the Champions League for Chelsea, as he did, because Milan has been knocked out of the Champions League. They're in the Europa League, but they could win the Europa League. And from an individual standpoint, this is easily the best season of his career. And if he can win the Europa League, he would become the first American to win the Champions League and the Europa League. And I'm going to say this once again. To me, Christian Pulisic is the best player the U.S. men's national team has ever had. Already. Better than Clint Dempsey ever was. Better than Lyndon Donovan ever was. I understand that those guys have accomplished more for the national team if you take into account their entire careers. But to me, they've never played at the level that Christian Pulisic is capable of playing and that we have already seen. With that said, let's move on from Christian Pulisic and go to Juventus, the boys that play for Juventus. And they are Weston McKennie and Tim Weah. On Sunday, McKennie started and played just 58 minutes for Juve during their 0-0 draw with Genoa. Timothy Weah came off the bench around minute 78. And look, this game was early on Sunday, and, putting a team managed by Allegri that early over the weekend means you simply don't want anyone to watch it. And understand that based on the stats and the summaries I read from this game, it was pure soccer terrorism, and that should surprise no one because that's usually what Allegri ball is. And I'm kind of happy I didn't wake up for it. I'm also happy that Weston McKennie and Tim Weah didn't really play the full match, which means they'll be fully rested for the U.S. men's national team when we play this Thursday against Jamaica, which obviously when we face Jamaica, we'll be doing a live coverage here at the channel, a live watch along and much more. With that said, before we continue to the Americans that play in the Bundesliga, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Underdog Fantasy. Their link is in the description of this video as well. And thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring Tactical Manager TV. Underdog Fantasy is a fun game to play prior to any soccer match, or basketball, or football as well, but we don't talk about those two in Tactical Manager TV. Sometimes basketball during live watch-alongs. I have been playing Underdog Fantasy for over a year now. You can download the app by using the link on the description of this video, and you can also use the promo code TMTV. And Underdog will be matching your first deposit for up to $100. And in the process, you'll be helping the channel avoid bankruptcy. The game I mainly play is called Pick'em. You just click on it, scroll to the soccer section, and pick a player for a specific match and select the stats that you believe will be lower or higher. It's very easy to play, but be smart about your picks because it's not easy to win. I'll be playing some Underdog Fantasy during some match live streams or match live watch-alongs, so stay tuned for that, as I will be forced to cheer for a player or root against him. Now, I am a professional hater, so I'll probably be rooting for the player's downfall. Once again, don't forget to use the promo code TMTV and use the link on the description of this video. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring the channel. Next up, we have the Americans that play in Germany in the Bundesliga, and why don't we start with Brendan Aaronson from Union Berlin? Because on Saturday, Brendan Aaronson started his first match ever since he got left out of the U.S. men's national team roster. At the time of this game, he didn't really know that he was going to get called in to replace an injured player. So he started for Union Berlin and played 78 minutes during their 2-1 win over Werder Bremen. And let me tell you, I don't know which demon possessed our little Brendan in this match, because he was terrorizing the Werder Bremen defense, midfield, coach, the parents of the players, everyone. That wasn't our little Brendan. It was a completely different player. That's not the Brenden Aaronson we've seen for the past 12 to 18 months. He was incredible, to say the least. He played a massive role setting up the first goal, and then he scored their second goal with a beautiful combination play followed by a wonderful finish. On top of all of that, he played with anger, taking on defenders, getting fouled, not getting bullied, press resistant. It was truly remarkable and a man of the match worthy performance, his best in the past 12 to 18 months, easily. And man, let me tell you, getting left out of the US men's national team roster really woke up Brenden Aaronson. Now, can he keep up these performances in the Bundesliga? Only time will tell, but I'll tell you this, he did put out that performance against the Bundesliga side, so the potential is there. Can he do this consistently? Time will tell. Probably not, but still, it was incredible to see. The other player would have been John Brooks from Hoffenheim, but he is suspended because he got a red card on the previous weekend. So let's skip on John Brooks and go to Joe Scally and Pepi that play for Borussia Mönchengladbach, also known as Borussia, not Dortmund. And on Saturday, Joe Scally and Pepi both started for Gladbach during their 1-1 draw with Heidenheim in the Bundesliga. Joe Scally played the full 90 minutes mostly as a left back, and he had a very solid defensive performance, while Pepi played 71 minutes and got the assist for the goal scored by Gladbach. He got a touch from a low cross that ended up with his teammates scoring. As for Leonard Maloney, he was not available for Heidenheim as he is currently recovering from a knee injury. Last but not least, in Germany, we have Kevin Paredes from Wolfsburg. And on Saturday, Paredes started and played 86 minutes for Wolfsburg during their 3-1 loss to Augsburg in the Bundesliga. Let's leave Germany and go to Spain. And why don't we start with Luca de la Torre from Celta de Vigo? Well, in the update on Luca, you already know because I said it earlier in the video. He didn't play for Celta de Vigo this weekend due to an injury, and that's why he also got cut from the US men's national team camp. Apparently, it's a thigh injury. For how long will he be out? I don't know. We'll update you on the next US men's national team abroad episode when we're back from camp. So skipping Luca de la Torre, let's talk about Johnny Cardoso from Real Betis. And on Sunday, Johnny started and was pulled out around minute 54 for Real Betis during their clash with Rayo in La Liga that they ended up losing 2-0. When he was out, they were down 1-0. And Johnny was having a very average performance, nothing horrible, but not really standing out. They sent an Isco for him because they were trying to get a comeback. So it was a bit of a tactical decision, but Johnny also did pick up a knock in the first half. So that's also a reason why he got subbed out in the second half. And as I said, he's going to be reevaluated Monday morning. And at the time of this recording, I don't know the update. So by the time you're watching this, maybe it was confirmed that he'll be in the US men's national team camp. I guess if you don't hear anything, that means he will be in the US men's national team camp. But if you hear something, that means he's probably out of the roster. But again, as I said before, from what I heard, he should be fine and he should make it to Dallas. Now let's go to France and talk about Florentin Balogun from Monaco. And on Sunday, Balogun pretty much stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Monaco during their 2-2 draw with Lorient. I mean, he was subbed in at the 89th minute to help them hold a 2-1 lead, and Monaco ended up conceding a late goal, which the match ended 2-2. I mean, it wasn't on Balogun, but it just sucks that it happens. What I'm trying to say here is Balogun pretty much picked up a DNP right before the US men's national team camp, and there's two ways you can look into this. One is a glass half empty, which is just that he's in awful form and he continues to be in awful form for his club. Now, the glass half full is that he'll probably be starting for the US men's national team and at least he'll be well rested. So I guess just let me know in the comment section of this video, are you a glass half full type of guy or are you a glass half full type of guy? Or girl, if you're a girl watching this video too. I'm going to say I'm somewhere in between. I don't like his form. I still think he's our best center forward, even though Pepi scored this weekend. But at least Balogun will be well rested to play on Thursday. So trying to remain optimistic about him. It would be really nice if he scored against Jamaica to pick his confidence back up and, you know, kind of like to silence some of the haters. But there's only so much I can do in terms of defending Balogun. It's reaching a point where my Balogun agenda is just going to die. But I choose to remain optimistic. Now let's leave France and go to the Netherlands to talk about the Americans that play in the Eredivisie. And why don't we start with the boys that play for PSV? And they are Ricardo Pepi, Malik Tillman, and Serginho Dest. And on Sunday, Dest started and played the full 90 minutes for PSV during their 1-0 win over Twente. Tillman came off the bench around minute 64, and Pepi was subbed in around minute 80th, and those two came in to rescue PSV. Because let me tell you, PSV was actually struggling quite a bit in the second half. And there were moments in this game that I actually thought PSV was finally going to lose a match in the Eredivisie. But clearly that didn't happen. Not thanks to Lozano, but thanks to the Americans. At the 97th minute, yes, 7th minute of added time, Luuk de Jong feeds Lozano for a wide open tap-in, to which Lozano somehow misses the ball. No, seriously, I've watched that replay multiple times. People were saying that the defender might have deflected the ball. Maybe he did, maybe not. I didn't see it, man. I still can't figure out what Lozano was doing in that play and how did he miss that. But nothing to fear because Tillman is here. He picked up the loose ball and delivered a magnificent pass, or you can call it a low cross, to Ricardo Pepi, to which Pepi managed to score with a sensational left-footed shot. No first touch to settle it. He just perfectly placed that left-footed shot to score to give PSV the 1-0 win. I also saw Richie Ledesma celebrating the goal with Ricardo Pepi when he scored that beautiful goal. And I kind of forgot that Richie Ledesma went back to PSV and he apparently was sitting on the bench the whole match. I totally forgot that Richie Ledesma even existed. But anyhow, PSV remains undefeated in the Eredivisie and they are currently 10 points ahead of Feyenoord that sits in second place with 8 matches to go. After the PSV boys, I would have updated you on Taylor Booth from Utrecht, but he's still currently injured. So let's skip on Booth and talk about Paxton Aaronson from Vitesse. And on Saturday, Paxton Aaronson started and played the full 90 minutes for Vitesse during their 1-1 draw with Almere in the Eredivisie. Again, this loan has been very good for Paxton as he is consistently getting minutes. Now that we're done with the Americans in the Eredivisie, let's go back to the UK and talk about the Americans that play in the second division of England in the EFL Championship. The first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. Oh, in case you're wondering, this is not a Norwich jersey. This is the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And on Saturday, Sargent started and played 82 minutes for Norwich during their 3-0 win over Stoke City. So we have bad news and good news here. The bad news we got out of the way earlier in the video. Sargent tweaked his ankle again, and he's out of the US men's national team camp. The good news here is he scored again for Norwich. Sure, it was a tap-in with a wide open net in transition, but so what? It was a goal. He continues to score goals in the EFL Championship, which makes us all wonder, could he do okay in the Premier League? Because the Championship is looking fairly easy for Josh Sargent right now. I personally think that Sargent could play in the Premier League, probably for a more of like a lower mid-table team, maybe a relegation battle team. And he could be decent, he could be effective. And hopefully he gets a move this summer in case Norwich doesn't get promoted. Now, with that said, let's skip Josh Sargent. Well, not skip, let's close Josh Sargent's section and talk about an American that really stood out this weekend. And his name is Haji Wright for Coventry. And on Saturday, Haji Wright started and played the full 90 minutes as a left winger for Coventry during their massive 3-2 win over Wolves in the FA Cup quarterfinals. And let me tell you, this match was insane. It was the second best match this weekend. The only one that was better was Manchester United and Liverpool for the FA Cup. So the two best matches that I watched this weekend were two FA Cup matches. And it was the Liverpool versus Manchester United and Coventry versus Wolves. So for this one specifically, Coventry was up 1-0 for most of this game. Then Wolves scored 2 goals in the last 10 minutes of regular time to take the lead, when then it seemed like it was all over. But then Haji Wright took the ball down the left flank at the 97th minute and got a hockey assist off a cross for the goal that tied the match. His cross was flicked by a Coventry player to find Sims to score. So that's why I said he got a hockey assist. It was a nice play down the left flank by Haji Wright. Now at the 100th minute, which was the 10th minute of added time, Haji Wright hit a beautiful right-footed shot from the edge of the box to give Coventry the 3-2 lead, the win, and their spot in the FA Cup semifinals. Incredible to say the least. And I love the FA Cup, I love the Brazilian Cup, I love all these cups. But unfortunately, MLS doesn't love the Open Cup. I wish they took it a bit more seriously. I wish they tried to increase the marketing of the Open Cup. And I wish they kind of just hadn't quit on it at this point. But we talked about MLS in the past in the US Open Cup. They're sending like 8 teams. What they did was a disgrace. They should be embarrassed by it. But that's not a topic for this video. So now let's talk about Ethan Horvath from Cardiff City. And on Saturday, Horvath started and played the full 90 minutes for Cardiff during their 2-0 loss to Swansea in the EFL Championship. Still in the UK, we're going to go to Scotland and talk about Cameron Carter-Vickers from Celtic that was left out of the US men's national team camp due to an injury, but he played this weekend. On Saturday, Carter-Vickers started and played 75 minutes for Celtic during their 3-1 win over St Johnstone in Scotland. Now, listen to this. The Celtic coach said he spoke to Berhalter and they thought it was best to keep Cameron Carter-Vickers in Scotland to miss the US men's national team camp due to his recent injury so he can finish the season strong. So I guess it's not Berhalter's fault. Berhalter probably did call up Carter Vickers. It's just that Celtic requested for him to stay. Carter Vickers probably also requested to stay. And Berhalter, trying to keep a good relationship with the player and the club, accepted it. But it looks like he was originally called in. Now, who came in to replace Carter Vickers? It was either Mark McKenzie or Miles Robinson. My bet is that it was Mark McKenzie. Now let's quickly go through the Americans that play in Mexico and Liga MX before we wrap up this video. And hopefully by now you already smashed the like button to help us hit 1,000 likes in this video if we haven't already. And we're going to start with Alejandro Zendejas and Cade Cowell. Alejandro Zendejas from Club America and Cade Cowell from Chivas because they clashed over the weekend. And on Saturday, Zendejas started and played 72 minutes for Club America during their 0-0 draw with Chivas in Liga MX. As for Cade Cowell, he started for Chivas and played 70 minutes for them. These two teams actually faced each other 3 times in the past 10 days. One match ended with a 3-0 America win. The other ended with a 3-2 Chivas win, both in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So I guess after those 2 matches, they both got tired of scoring goals and blessed us with this 0-0 draw in the Super Clásico this weekend. The other American we were going to report on at Liga MX would have been Brendan Vasquez from Monterrey that continues to score for them almost every single game at this point. But he plays too late on Sunday, and we record this Sunday afternoon because we got to get this video out Monday morning. So if Brendan Vasquez scored again, let us know in the comment section of this video. And I guess that does it for this episode. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Also, thank you everyone that's been joining our Patreon. We truly appreciate all the support. Drop a like before you go. And I want to thank you all once again for watching and have a great day.